You want to know why everything sucks? Now, I'm going to tell you my hot take on why everything sucks. So back before I started creative direction and branding work, I was a product owner. I was building software, working cross-functionally. I know it's a key term, with engineering teams, design teams. And this is what I saw at every single tech company I've ever worked at. They do this. They build teams, number one, that are more focused on their individual careers than focused on the growth and what's best for the business. You don't get rewarded for the health of the business. You get rewarded for you speaking up and saying, hey, I did these things. Hey, these key people like me. Even when you look at job applications on a lot of these roles, right? Your ability to build relationships is literally listed as like one of the job descriptions that you'll be doing. So you get rewarded off that. What does that mean? You're constantly in direct conflict with doing what's best for the business and doing what's best for your career. Most people that want to keep a check coming in every 2 weeks, they're going to do what's best for their career. So that means you build things that don't make sense. And everything is by design, and everything is designed by these people. Not necessarily the smartest, not necessarily the most capable, but people who knew, if I do this, that person over there is going to be very happy. That person over there who has a big say and big pull on this team is going to be happy. And so we're living in a world full of compromises and full of unenthusiastic yeses. Now, as someone like me, I said, no, I'm going to do what's best for the company. Surely that is going to ring true and create results. It created results. People in the back end appreciated it, but I was passed over time after time after time for promotion, not because I didn't raise my hand or speak up, but because the perception of my work wasn't as positive as the actual impact of my work. Now, in the work that I do now, I connect the gap between branding and creative through cultural competence as the conduit. And mindset is a huge part of that, because branding work is really about identity, and identity is really about self-actualization. And something that I never saw in these corporate spaces was a deep sense of self-awareness, right? Everyone was just so busy running on their treadmill that they didn't pause to ask themselves, why is this having an impact? Like, what is the data to support this? Like, how is this actually moving the needle forward? Right? We're so buried into the expectations that the company actually has of us that we don't stop for a moment to pause and think, how is this aligned with my vision? Is my vision aligned with this company? A lot of people actually don't even have the luxury of being able to ask themselves those questions. So as I do creative and branding work now, I look back on a lot of those situations and go, that's why that was so painful. That's why this person and I didn't see eye to eye. We were completely motivated by different things, and there wasn't really an opportunity to compromise. We were literally at a direct conflict and couldn't come to a consensus that made us both feel like we were moving forward in the right direction. Everything sucks because we can't get on the same page. Everything sucks because we don't live in a merit-based world. We live in a relationship and privilege-based world. And so when you're motivated by creating outcomes, creating results, actually moving the goalpost, actually moving the needle to grow the business, you will often find yourself at direct conflict with your peers, with your coworkers, with your boss, and with your manager. Now, something that I've done in my career now as an entrepreneur is I make sure I get a clear understanding of why my clients want to work with me. Not in some egotistical way like, so why do you want to work with me? Because I'm the best photographer, producer, creative director, whatever. No, I honestly get a sense of like, where is their thinking? How does my mission align with their mission? My mission has always been to empower Black founders to actually feel seen and tell their stories in a way that doesn't feel like they're being held in a box, but also doesn't feel like they're hiding their identity either, right? My why has always been rooted in creating a world that's more inclusive, that's more nuanced, and that gives us space to be who we are, space to be something other than what people expect us to be, just space to exist, to do all the things that we can't even think of because we're so busy surviving. How does all of that align with your goal? Because if we haven't thought about that, then there's a huge chance that we're going to be in direct conflict of interest, right? And sometimes even that conversation alone provides so much value to my clients because they're like, damn, you know what? It's been a minute since I've thought about that. It's been a minute since I've sat down and just thought about my business at a high level because I'm so in the weeds. This is something that happens a lot. So doing these exercises is something that I offer my clients. I do it in the discovery call pretty naturally, but I started offering it as a standalone service because I was like, it is so important to put the pause button on and say, what are we doing? And why are we doing it? And why is it important to us? And are we on the same page, right? Getting aligned on that can shave off so much extra work, so much back and forth, and really move forward. A lot of times when we're trying to accomplish something within our companies or build something, tell a story, make a video, it doesn't matter what it is. It's not that it's so complicated to do it, but it's complicated when we don't have the awareness of where we're going. It's not that it's impossible to reach your goal. It's that if you don't define your goal, how will you ever get there? So that's kind of how I handle a world built on politics and how I navigate that for my clients and in my business. So comment below. Let me know if you've ever experienced anything like that. Let me know what it is that you're struggling with or stuck on that you feel like misunderstood, right? Let me know. I'm super excited to hear your thoughts on that.